So some of you are more of a key point person, some of you are more of a table method kind of person. I'm actually going to do two different videos to show the two different styles so that you can just focus on whichever style you like. So you get to choose, it's a choose your own adventure, okay? So this video is going to be for key point people, and let's go ahead and go through the process. So if you're a key point person, you got your cubic or your cube root, which is going to look like the stretched S. The key points, there's always 0, 0, so you've got 1, 1, and 8, 2 as your key points for the cube root. Just a reminder, if you see x to the 1/3 plus 2, it means the same thing, okay? So from there, the only thing this graph is doing is, so I'm first going to look for addition, subtraction. Anything on the outside affects your y's. Anything inside, so when I say inside, I'm talking about inside the cube root, affect your x's. So notice there's just an x in front in the cube root. So the only thing that's happening is we're moving our graph up 2. So I go up 2, and then from that coordinate, I'm going to go ahead and plot those key points. So I'll go right 1, up 1, right 8, up 2, because it first tells you, the first number tells you how far left or right. The second number tells you how far up or down you're going to go. Okay. Now I've gone from there. It's the scoliosis, or it's not scoliosis, the stretched S graph. So I know it needs to also go down 1, left 1, and down 2, left 8, because I'm just kind of going backwards on those others. And just draw the graph so it looks like a stretched S. Okay, let's do another one. So this one's a square root graph. And a reminder, this would be the same thing as x minus 3 to the 1/2 plus 2. They mean the same thing. So if you're a key point person, you're going to use 1, 1, or you'll use 4, 2, and 4, 2. 0, 0 as well, but we'll use that anyway. So anytime you see addition or subtraction, it's going to tell us where our starting point is. The -3, since it's under the square root, under the radical, tells you, and you go opposite, tells us to go right 3, and then we're once again going to go up 2. So right 3, up 2, right here. So I'm going to go from that first point I made, and I'm going to go right 1, up 1 from there. And the reason I don't change those is because there's no multiplication anywhere. So I'm going to go right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. And there you have it. There's the graph. Let's do a few more. Oh yes, so we've got another square root problem. So the same key points. And once again, I first look to see what happens to my starting point. Where are we moving it to? So this +3 is on the outside, so I'm going to go up 3. It's affecting our y's. Now we do, on this problem, we do have to do something to our key points because there's this -2 on the front. So there's a y value, or it affects our y values, our a, it's our a value. So we're affecting the y's. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply my y's by -2. So you have 1, -2, and 4, -4. So once again, from that starting point, I'm just going to go over 1, down 2, and over 4, down 4. And notice on both of them, I go back to that starting point. And then you draw the correct shape, which I should have reviewed, but that's our shape, and it's just going upside down because of that negative, it flipped our graph. Okay, we are getting close. We only have a few more to go. Okay, so we've got the cube root, so I'm going to go ahead and draw the stretched S, because because that's what the shape is. So I know it's going to be the stretched S. And it's the stretched S, so it's going to be 1, 1, and 8, 2 for my key points. First thing I do is find my starting point. And my starting point in this case, since there's a -1 under the radical, that tells us we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to go right 1. There's nothing on the outside, so we're not moving our graph up or down this time. Or sorry, there's nothing added or subtracted on the outside. So we go right 1. There's our starting point. Okay, we've got this -1/2 outside. Anytime you have something multiplied on the outside that affects your y values, and you're going to go ahead and multiply each y value by that number. So that will change the key points to 1, -1/2, and 8, -1. So from that starting point, I'll go right 1. For this first one, I'm going to go right 1, down 1/2. And for the second one, I'm going to go right 8. It's going to be off my graph, and down 1. So it's at the coordinate 9, -1. So I'm going to go back to that starting point. Since I know it has to be the S shape, I'm not done. I'm going to also go right 1, up 1/2, and right 8, or sorry, I said right and I went left. Left 1, up 1/2, and then back at the starting point, I'm going to go left 8, up 1. And you get this lovely graph right here. Okay, here's our next one. We've got a square root. Just a quick reminder, since I haven't reminded you in a bit, this could also be written as 2x in parentheses to the 1/2 minus 3. Okay, so these both mean the same thing. But it's the square root function, so we know it's going to be just the half parabola, like sideways half parabola. It's that shape. Some people call it the arch. You call it what you want. So just to remind you, your key points are 1, 1, and 4, 2. Actually, I'm going to space it out better. Okay, so once again, you always find your starting point first. So you're looking for addition, subtraction. We've got some subtraction outside the square root, and that tells me to move this down 3. So we move down 3. And then we do have some multiplication. That, because it's under the square root, is going to affect our x's. And you always do the opposite. Okay, so in this case, it's multiplying by 2, so we're going to divide both of these by 2. So you have 1/2, 1, and 2, 2. So if I go to the starting point, from that starting point, I'm going to go over 1/2, up 1, and I'll go over 2, up 2. And draw my function. Okay, one more I want to do. We got a cube root. So that's the scoliosis, or the sideways scoliosis, as some people call it. I call it the stretched S. And we're going to find our key points, which are 1, 1, and 8, 2. So then we're going to go ahead and find our starting point. So because of the +1, we're going to move the whole graph up 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Perfect. And then we've got this x over 2. Now, it's under the radical, so that means it's going to affect our x's. And since we're in this, we're dividing by 2. Remember, we always do opposite. I'm going to multiply these x's by 2. So that'll give you 2, 1, and 16, 2. So I'm going to go over 2, up 1 from the starting point. Over 16 up 2 is kind of not possible, so I'm just going to go left 2, down 1. so that I can just draw the correct shape from there. And there you go.